But our Harrison McIntosh show was a highlight for me.
Huh.
We have a book with that.
Now, Harrison, that sounds like more of a man's name.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, now I'm
And
feeling a little more comfortable.
He's 98 years old, still living in Claremont.
Still live in Claremont, 98.
And I wrote the copy for the book. His wife, Marguerite, wrote some copy for the book. And because Harrison, a million years ago when I was a novice potter, and I entered my first competition, he gave me my first award ever, and it was a first award. And so then I considered Harrison to be mine, you know?
No, what was the award for? Your
Ceramics.
Well, it was just ceramics award, or was there something more specific
No,
about
there was a
it?
piece. It was an all-white piece, a very tall column type of piece with just a little bit of scroll work at the lip. And then I think there was a little bit of cutout work on the side, not much. It's pretty much a tall white piece. And so, you know, when you win an award like that, it sticks in your mind. And I've admired Harrison ever since, and so when I got to do his show, it was a very special time.
So independent of all the potters associated with this place and that you may personally know, is there a potter that might be your favorite potter, totally independent of all this?
Probably my teacher at Otis, and that was Ralph Becerra, and he's passed on as
well.
Ralph
Becerra.
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 And this is the Otis Art Institute?
Yes, it's Otis School of Art and Design at this point. He's changed his name about 5 times, but that's what it is right now. And
so you studied there, and when you studied there, you were a ceramics major, or was it some other?
I actually was not enrolled there as a major. I took classes there, and I took them all in ceramics, and I took them all from Ralph.
And so your interest in ceramics goes back quite some time. What was the thing that got you involved in ceramics in the first place? Did your parents throw pots at you? I know mine did.
Did they?
Yeah, my mother threw a lot of things, and pots were one of them.
I'm trying to think back.
When you were in school, in grade school, high school?
No, I was already married with children.
Oh, married with children.
And my sister was in college, and she took a ceramics class, and I was, you know, interested. And I started putzing around with it, but I was doing little figures and firing in a very small electric kiln.
So you had your own electric kiln, or this was a...
No,
so you had
my own electric kiln.
Now, how did you happen to get an electric kiln?
My aunt gave it to me.
So your aunt, what's her name?
Frances Mann. She was not a ceramic artist.
That's two N's? So Frances Mann, your aunt.
My aunt.
She gave you an electric kiln.
Yes.
About what dimensions would you say?
The inside of it was probably a
cubic
foot.
About a cubic foot. So about the size of a bread box.
Yeah. So I started working with that, making little figures and
so
things
figures,
to sell.
Were they like birds, or were they chipmunks, or what were they?
They were actually figures. Most of them were figures for a Christmas ornament that I was doing, and it was a multi-part thing with a nativity scene, and I did the figures for that. And then I tried it. I tried some Holly Hobby like flat tiles. I think that was the next thing I did. And then I heard about an adult ed class, and I enrolled.
And where was that?
That was in Monrovia.
So you took an adult
ed class.
Ed class in Monrovia.
Yeah, and I think the funniest thing is
it was like 3 hours a week or something like that?
Yeah, in the evening. The funniest things, I showed up the first night in a white sundress.
And I assume they laughed at you, because I assume in any artistic, any kind of doing any art, you don't want to show up in a white dress.
No.
Unless you're kind of a smart ass and you intend to leave with it filthy, and that's a sign of something.
I came home and told my husband that I wasn't going back.
Oh, that's what you told your husband, that you were not going
I was
back.
not going back.
And what was his reaction? He said, well,
I don't
okay.
remember a reaction.
But then you didn't go back because your sundress was ruined, or
No,
you?
I didn't do anything that night. I just enrolled.
I see.
And I didn't know that we would be expected to do anything, but those who had been enrolled before started immediately to work. And so I went home and I just said, I just don't think it's for me. And
I don't think it's for me. No, those were the great words. And so, but
what I
something.
felt badly about is I had paid this fee, which
And,
was probably all of $10 or
Okay,
something.
so you invested
And-
the $10.
And I felt badly that I had invested that money and wasn't going to go back.
But then somehow you had a change of heart. Do you remember what provoked that change of heart?
Yes.
What
My
was that?
sister, who was at Cal State Los Angeles
Oh,
and
that's-
taking a ceramic class,
that's
said,
where I
come
went.
with me and we'll try it together.
Now, she was your older sister?
No, my younger sister.
So your younger sister took her older sister by the hand and led the way.
And said, let's go try this. So then I
Now,
tried
now,
it.
what was your younger sister's name?
Janet.
Janet. Okay, so Janet from Cal State OA took her older sister by the hand and said, let's just try it.
And her teacher was Mac McLean, and Mac McLean's work is right over here.
And this is an example of Mac McLean's work.
This case right here. This
Well,
is
look
Mac.
at that. Well, that's fantastic. So Janet took you by the hand and said, let's just try it, and then you went back the following Wednesday or Thursday, or when was
whatever
it?
it was, yeah.
We'll say Wednesday. So you went back the following Wednesday, and then how were you dressed the second time?
Oh, I think I probably had jeans and probably a man's shirt.
Jeans and a lumberjack shirt.
Yeah.
And then what was your impressions of class 2, dressed appropriately with your sister leading the way?
This is a long time ago. This was like 1970, 71, and you're expecting me to remember that? I do remember that it was learning to throw was extremely difficult for anyone.
What's difficult about learning to throw?
The centrifugal force of a wheel is against all of your thinking. You think it's going to be really easy to work against it. And it isn't a matter of strength, it's a matter of isometrics.
Isometrics.
You're holding still. And to get that to center, stay centered while you're pulling up the walls. And it's not a random. When people look at it, they feel it's kind of random. The movements, they're exact. And they are slightly different for each size of the ball of clay.
Is there a name for these movements?
Yeah, it's throwing.
Well, yes, but within the context of throwing, are there different? You said these movements are precise and exact.
Centering, it would be the first one.
Okay.
And then opening up.
Opening up.
Pulling up the walls.
And opening up, what does that mean?
It simply means that if you have a flat, round disc of clay, I say it's more like a shape of a cake. So you have that on the wheel.
Uh-huh.
You use your fingers in the center of it to pull toward you to open it up.
So you are pulling towards you, fingers in the center, you're pulling towards
That's
you.
the way I
and
open it.
And that's called opening up.
Some people use their thumbs to open up. I don't. I found it easier and not so hard on your thumb joints to open it that way. And then, you pull up the walls, and sometimes you do what's called necking in. If you need to recenter it, you're going to neck it in and do the shape. You can use a rib, a metal rib, or a wooden rib.
These are additional tools that you use when
You
you're.
can use a rib, but when you're doing it to smooth it out or give it more roundness. My favorite shape is a bottle.
A bottle.
Full round bottle with a tiny neck on it. That's my favorite shape because it's hard to do without having what you would call the shoulder of the pot coming out a little flat or nearly collapsing. That's the most difficult thing, to pull it all the way out and then neck it right back in and have